What's up? Number one, TB. The Sudbury Assassin. We're trying a stream at this hour of the day. Just trying to crank out the YouTube algorithm. Well, stay safe out there. What's up, ACDC in the house? I'm hitting all hours. Trying to entertain you fine folks of the internet. And hoping everyone is doing well on this Tuesday. Yeah, I've been doing them pretty late at night, just trying to, just trying to see what times work best, frankly. I rarely do them at this time of day just because I don't want to, compete with MLC, but I don't think I'm really competing with them. What up, Paul Hammond? Are you related to Ken Hammond, who used to play on the Los Angeles Kings? I'm assuming you are not. But either way, welcome to the show. I'm doing pretty good. It's about 2 p.m. my time. Lois, I just took her for her afternoon walk. She's drinking a little water, if you can hear. And I'm doing all right. Soccer Vids official. We got some new people in the stream. So please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps me out. Quest, everything's cool out here. I just got my schedule for the Comedy Store as we went to the air. Thank you, Paul. Only do it if you like what you see, We don't get many trolls in here, but we do get them. Usually more on the late night side of things. Thank you, Paul, very much. There's many ways to help a subscriber out. And, hitting the like and subscribe button is one of them. Of course, there's super chats and all that stuff. I don't do shout outs, God Eater. Unfortunately. My opinion on racist, I don't like them. I am hitting up AEW. I am the personal guest of MVP. And I'm going to pitch him that I should be the first white member of the Hurt Syndicate. Now, they got a tough act to follow after the John Cena heel turn, but there are, in a way, it's kind of smart because I don't know what anyone in here looks like. So, it's hard for me to troll back. I have to see what someone looks like and their physical appearance and, my day is good. My day is good. Trump. I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. Okay, I don't speak Russian, so we've got some Russian trolls coming in. That's kind of new. But welcome. We welcome everyone. I've got a fan base, small but mighty. 100% they have the edge. Quest, you could start trolling me right now. I wouldn't know what to say to you. So a faceless and usually nameless troll is, they're really in the power position. Well, I already have 3,500 subs, but I would take another 2,000 subs because I've heard from my friends who, they started their YouTube channel with a couple hundred subscribers, that the minute they hit 5,000 subs, oh shit, we have a Dabbleverse legend in the stream, Corn Diff, and that is the real deal, Corn Diff. Welcome to the show. I mean, I don't really get bothered too much by what trolls. Um, listen, that's a good zinger. Dinner plates on my forehead. I mean, listen, I have bad vision. What can I say? Um, so, how do you remember your jokes? I have a great memory. Like I have that. It's actually a diagnosed disease that I have a super duper foot long memory. I have a super duper photographic memory, which is good and bad. Um, because, the bad thing is nothing ever leaves your brain. So, you kind of almost go crazy. Vigors, yes. That's a Vigors with an O. Thank you very much. That really was. For those of you not knowing what the hell I'm talking about, please check out Vigors, Vigors. Santa Anita Handicap, 1978. No, I'm not trying to stick it to KB. I mean, I'm pretty sure Kevin doesn't mind. I have 20 people in here. Um, so, well, no, I don't have a forgettable memory. I remember everything. So that's how I remember my set list. I don't have a set list. Um, you know, because I go on like this Saturday night. I'm going on last in the main room. Some might say going last. Some might say headlining. Yes. Um, yeah, but Vigors was a white horse, and he also had either a son. My favorite character in Predator, I'd have to go with Billy Soul, the Indian. I don't know if it was a. Thank you. I need these glasses. These ain't for show. Vigorous Vigors, which did not do quite as well as his parent, but same style. Come from behind. So Vigors, the first two athletes I followed as a kid were actually racehorses. Seattle Slew and Vigors, the Great White Hope. Um, yeah, I mean, just Jenna, it is a curse and a gift. Like I remember everything. I can remember dates from 25 years ago. What she wore, what she ordered for, what we did after, before. I can remember my very first date. I went on with Jennifer Molina. I can remember what she was wearing. I could see it in my head as if it happened 2 seconds ago. So we don't do D-word towers in here, Stephen Smith. I'm going to give you one last chance before I put you on 24-hour timeout. I did not know that. And did you also know? Um, I mean, I went to Santa Anita so many times, but that one scene where um, Billy's just staring off into the trees, and then Schwarzenegger comes up to him. What's wrong, Billy? I guess it's nothing major. He had really bad diarrhea, so as soon as they yelled cut, he ran to the bathroom. And watch that scene next time. You could definitely see like he got to go. Um, I mean, I saw all the greats at Santa Anita, Seattle Slew, Vigors, um, all the great jockeys, Sandy Hawley, the great turf jockey, Fernando Toro. Um, yes, he was too, well, it wasn't necessarily that he was too short. I think he broke his ankle. He was very clumsy in the costume. So then I think once he got hurt, they were like, let's just get a fucking giant. And they got Kevin Peter Hall. And if you want to see what Kevin Peter Hall looks like in real life, he was also at the end of Predator. He was the helicopter pilot. When the big explosion happens, when the Predator blows himself up, They cut to Kevin Peter Hall as the chopper pilot going, what the fuck? A lot of people. And he was also in the cult comedy hit, The Wildlife, with Comedy Store paid regular Angel Salazar. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think who else, what other horses I saw there. John Henry was a great horse there. I mean, I saw any good horse I saw there. I mean, my favorite jockey was Sandy Hawley. And I'm trying to think of Seattle's Jean Crouquet. I might be saying the name wrong. I think he was Seattle Slew's jockey. Are you Neil Armstrong? No, I think Neil Armstrong would have a lot more people than 14 people in here. Yes. What was the horse that beat Seattle Slew? I remember crying. I was so upset. Swaps or Slopes, something of that nature. Yeah, Eddie D, great. Eddie Delahousse. And that announcer, Trevor Denman. Wow, man. Could that guy, he was like that announcer who did the motocross races, just unbelievable. So it makes me look back very fondly on those days. And I also went to Hollywood Park a lot. I mean, my dad was a pretty famous gambler. You know, people knew him at the track, so I was treated like gold. We don't do all caps in here. I don't know. I've tried to look it up. Let me see. I guess there might be a. Let me look it up on my iMac here. Sorry, I don't have a producer, so I got to do everything on my own. Let me see. I mean, Seattle Slew, there's a ton of. What would you write? Viger's Pedigree? Would that. Viger's Racehorse Pedigree. And I can't find anything on Vigorous Vigers. Thoroughbred, find your. Okay, here we go. Viger's the Horse Wikipedia. Viger's Horse Pedigree. Okay, so. Wow. Wow, I don't even know how to read this. That can't be it. Hold on. I don't think that's it. Let me see here. Viger's Wikipedia. Let's go to Viger's Wikipedia page. Viger's was an American thoroughbred racehorse known as the White Tornado, the greatest California closer. Viger's was bred in Kentucky by William Hahn, a Dallas businessman and a shareholder of Del Mar Racetrack, and a founding partner of the Dallas Cowboys. The horse was named after Hahn's friend Tim Vigers, a World War II fighter. All right, let's get to the stud career. Okay, here we go. Vigers stood at Jonah Bell Farm near Lexington, Kentucky. He was a successful sire of numerous winners, including multiple stakes winners, Royal Mountain Inn, exemplary leader, I remember him, Lovely Erlinda, among others. He also sired millionaire Hodges Bay and Real Connection, and had 5 other progeny earn more than $500,000 in racing. Vigers is also the dam sire of Ginger Gold, the 2001 champion. Vigers died at 23 years old, September 27, 1994. So, pedigree of Vigers. They don't even list Vigorous Vigers on here. That's the confusing thing. But he looked like he had about, he was a sire with Grey Dawn. Vigers pedigree. Let's see what that says. Sorry, I know this is probably boring to some of you people, but to me and TB, it's interesting. So, a great racehorse. I mean, I'm not TB. If you can ever find anything on Vigorous Vigers, Queen On, can I say hi? Yeah, of course you can say hi. I'll give you the full tour, Queen On. I'm very good to my fans, the few that I have. You'll find when you're in my position of not having the biggest fan base, you're nice to the fans who take the time to come to the Comedy Store. Of course, tickets will be free. Okay, but let me Google Vigorous Vigors, and nothing pops up. But I very much remember being excited that now one of my bucket list items is to go visit Vigor's gravesite, or I guess where he's. I see. I put in Vigorous Vigors, and nothing pops up. So maybe I'm getting the name wrong, but I'm almost positive it was Vigorous Vigors. And he ran just like his dad. Yeah, no, my uncle didn't put me on stage. In the pantheon of Kiss songs, see ya, Tiff. I mean, look it up. Kind of saved their career. To be honest with you, I mean, you kind of forget. You know, Kiss in the. Sorry, just trying to straighten out my thing here. Kiss in the in that time frame, they were struggling. And Vinnie Vincent came along at exactly the right time. And what up, John Poole? No need to say hello 3 times. So they needed something, and I don't think Ace. Well, I can't say I love you back, John, but thank you. Your uncle, father, and uncle were heroes. My dad was a hero to me. He was a gentle giant. But I would rank it up there as a top 10 song, especially when you consider that it essentially rescued their career. What up, Unit 75? There's some interesting screen names in the chat today. But, Vinny was exactly what Kiss needed at exactly the right time. So, although he's a complete maniac, he did rescue their careers, because I don't think Kiss could have continued to be relevant with Ace, and certainly not Peter in the band. There's no way Peter could play that bombastic drum sound of the mid 80s. It just wouldn't have worked. We don't do all caps in here, Unit. Only one person can do all caps, and you ain't him. So, yeah, but my uncle is locked in with Trump, for better or worse. And, my uncle's kind of fake, to be honest with you. Like, he reached out to Kamala's campaign first. So he was a gun for hire, to be completely frank. So, but, I mean, he was never going to win the White House. So it is interesting how even the Kennedys have kind of turned their back on him. I mean, he's a rogue wild card. Yeah, Eric Carr was awesome on drums and perfect for that time, to usher Kiss into the 80s. I just don't think Peter could have done it. And all the guitar players that Kiss had in the 80s were probably better than Ace would have been. I mean, Vinnie Vincent was a great guitar player. Mark St. John was classically trained. I think they say he took lessons from Randy Rhoads, so he knew how to play the fucking guitar. He was literally probably too good to be in Kiss in terms of technical skill. And then Bruce Kulick, he is one of the more well-rounded guitarists of the last 50 years. I mean, he can play anything. No, you have to be born with it, Articulate John. I've never heard of Kay Parker. I did not think OJ had it in him to kill 2 people. I mean, Peter was good for the 70s, I mean, Peter's favorite drummers were like Buddy Rich and Gene Krupa, jazz guys, where, Eric Carr came more from the John Bonham, Keith Moon school, and that's just what was popular in the 80s. And Kiss was never a leader. They were always a follower. I mean, Kiss wasn't even really the first band to use makeup. It was David Bowie, it was the New York Dolls, rest in peace, David Johansen, Alice Cooper, early Alice Cooper. So Kiss just amped up the level. And it was really their manager, Bill Aucoin, who probably said to them, guys, you're not the best musicians. You got to do something different. You know, yes, Bob Kulick. I met Bob Kulick a few times. Rest in peace. What's up, Sour Milk? I remember, excuse me. I remember once I saw Paul Stanley's band play at the House of Blues, and I was sitting next to Bob Kulick, and they played Wouldn't You Like to Know Me? And that was a song Bob Kulick played on the Paul Stanley solo record. And after they were done, I leaned over to Bob. I said, hey, what you think? And he kind of looked at me in a dicky way and was like, well, that's their interpretation of it. Like basically saying, I don't like it. The best concert I've ever seen live. I gotta say, Guns N' Roses at the Forum, '92. I mean, the Use Your Illusion tour. I mean, it was just like the energy. It was a 3-hour show. I think Skid Row might have been the opening act. I don't remember. And it was just the energy in the building. I mean, I've been in that building 300 or 400 times, maybe more. Maybe over 500 times I've been in the building. I've been to Stanley Cup Finals games in that building. I've been to Showtime Laker games in that building. I've been to Laker playoff games. I've been to King playoff games. I've been to the famous double OT game against Calgary when Mike Kruzhelniski in double overtime just did a wild reach for the puck and it just went over the goalie Mike Vernon's head and the crowd went fucking bonkers. And nothing beat the energy of that Guns N' Roses show. It was just like a keg of dynamite went off. I mean, I don't think Bedard has a lot of help. Even though they beat my beloved Kings last night. That kid is just he's playing with a bunch of scrap heaps like Athanasiou and Pat Maroon and Bertuzzi, and it's just he does not have a lot of help. But they should be fairly active at the deadline. They'll trade a guy like Maroon for a third round pick, or they'll probably trade a Bertuzzi type, for a second, third round pick. So they're going to be good in a couple years. But unfortunately, the way the league is structured, you got to be bad to be good. You got to be bad to stockpile draft picks and all that stuff. So, I mean, the Kings, there's different ways of doing the rebuild. You look at the Rangers, they did kind of a half and half rebuild. The Kings are kind of doing that. They are still trying to win for Kopitar and Doughty, but like they go up and down. Or then you do a total rebuild like the Sharks. You acquire veteran players, you flip them at the deadline, and you just stockpile a tremendous amount of draft capital. Utah, has done the same thing, where they have stockpiled tons of draft picks in the next couple of years. Edmonton's kind of in a rough spot because, you obviously want to maximize on McDavid and Draisaitl's prime careers. But so, Edmonton's going to be pretty bad in a couple of years because they really don't have a lot of draft picks because they've traded them to help stockpile the team for McDavid's run, and it hasn't worked out. Yeah, don't forget Al Secord. I think that front post to the chat here is it says, don't be a dick. Yes, I mean, I don't want dicks in here. Should guys, I don't believe so. I don't think it's fair for, a girl with a man's testosterone levels to be playing. I mean, it's like the French boxer. That wasn't fair, man. That was a dude. fighting women. And then, I know in some volleyball tournament recently, a transgendered girl like broke a girl's face. She hit the ball so hard into her face, and it was a transgendered, male to female, and it's just not fair. It's not being against trans, but in sports, it's just, you know, greatest hockey player of all time. So I do have a good jawline, Rucka. Check out that jaw. I mean, that's a tough one because I think most people just automatically go with Wayne Gretzky because of the staggering point totals he put up. I mean, do you realize, and I'm sure you do, Jason, that I do have a nice jawline. I mean, I may have a big forehead, but my jawline is fucking solid. I'd probably be a great boxer. There's no way you could break this jaw. It's unbreakable. I mean, you realize if you took away all of Wayne Gretzky's goals, he'd still be the all-time leading scorer just on his assist levels alone. Um, you know, I personally, if I'm starting a team, I would want Mark Messier because he didn't score as much as Gretzky, but he could intimidate the shit out of you. Like he would cross-check you in the face and feel no remorse about it. So I'd rather have Messier. But there's Mario Lemieux. I mean, what if Mario Lemieux had line mates those first 5 years in Pittsburgh? I mean, look at some of the guys Mario Lemieux was playing with in Pittsburgh. Warren Young, who was like a career minor leaguer, plays with Lemieux, 40-goal scorer. Rob Brown, 40-goal scorer. I mean, Mario Lemieux was playing with Jay Caulfield and Gary Rissling. I mean, even Dave Semenko could play a little bit. Do you think you got? I mean, I don't know. I don't fight, so I'd probably be like Tex Cobb. I just wouldn't go down. Um, that would be funny if a boxer wore glasses. Um, you miss the fact enforcers have over time have kind of, yeah. I mean, but I get it. These guys were just they were just getting too big. I mean, Derek Bugard, 6'8". See ya, Dark. 6'8", 260, and Zdeno Chara, 6'9", 270. Steve McIntyre, 6'5", 250. These guys. I mean, Donald Brashear wasn't even that big of a player toward the end of his career, and he was about 6'2", 6'3", 230. Yeah, I mean, Tex Cobb was actually a pretty good boxer, but he'll always be remembered for the Larry Holmes fight. Of course, my favorite boxer of all time is probably Tex Cobb, but if I could pick another one, would be the great Ron Lyle, who is maybe the greatest what if ever in the history of heavyweight boxing. And what I mean by that is Ron Lyle, in the prime of his career, was in prison for 7.5 years for murder. So you just think, what if he wasn't in prison for those 7 years? Because he's a guy who fought George Foreman and Muhammad Ali to the absolute limit. Holmes is underrated. I think Larry Holmes' problem was, he just was in that in-between era of Ali and Tyson, and he didn't really have that foil to fight. I mean, Larry Holmes' most famous fight is probably against Tex Cobb. And it's really due to Tex Cobb just not going down. I mean, Larry Holmes was fighting guys like Tim Witherspoon, Pinklin Thomas, Trevor Berbick, just guys who were John Tate, guys who just, I don't know, they just, you don't care about those fights. And then, Tyson came on, and, Tyson had great adversaries, Holyfield and not Pinklin, Razor Ruddock. Why it's typing in rules a dirty word that I have no idea what you're saying. So I mean, Foreman versus Lyle, I believe, is the greatest heavyweight fight of all time. Every person, and it's really not talked about. But a prime George Foreman getting knocked down 3 times by Ron Lyle. I mean, it was literally rock'em sock'em robots. And the best part is the face-off right before the bell rings for the first round. Foreman intimidated everyone back then, but Lyle got right into his fucking face. It's like, hey, man, I've been in prison for 7.5 years. There's a million guys tougher than you in this prison I was in. Let's get it on. Yeah, I mean, Gotti versus Ward. I mean, I didn't really. I mean, some of those. Yeah, I mean, Marciano and Tyson had similar builds. Shorter, compact. I mean, I grew up with, maybe the greatest heavyweight era of all time. When you really think about it, um, you know, all these guys in their prime: Ali, Foreman, Frazier, and then you had the second tier of guys who, in any other era, probably would have been champions. Ernie Shavers, Ken Norton, Ron Lyle. Jerry Quarry was a good heavyweight. Jimmy Young. And then, you get into the Larry Holmes era where there wasn't really a lot of great heavyweights. And then you get the Tyson era. And then you get that weird era, like in the early years of Tyson, when, he wasn't quite dominating yet on a national scale. You had guys like Michael Dokes, great fighter. And there was a great documentary on him on Amazon. I kind of forgot how good he was. Oh, shit. Hey, Earl, how's Lois? You are really sticking it to KB. Waiver, $2. I don't think KB's worried about me and 15 people in here. But I'm going to be busy later tonight, so I got to stream when I got to stream. Lois is doing well. We just went for a nice long walk. What up, Jack? Hit the like and subscribe button, pretty please. Yeah, Chavala was a tank. I mean, Mike Weaver was kind of one of those guys in the Michael Dokes era of, just any other era, he would have been a champion, And then you had Trevor Berbick was a good fighter. Was it Ron Tate? Was it? John Tate. He was a good fighter. Don't worry about it. If you don't like how I talk, get out of the stream. Roy Jones was one of the greats when he was in his prime. Yes, I do have a ray gun like Marvin the Martian. You got to write some new material, ZF. Tony Tucker was another one. Not. I don't know if I would say in any other era he would have been a champion, but and Tex Cobb was a. He's more known for his chin, but he was a very good fighter. Yeah, I mean, Jack Dempsey. I mean, you could go to the bare knuckles guy. Johnson, was it Jack Johnson? Uh-oh, message held for review. These are always fun to read. That's a. How did you feel about Tommy Morrison pre-fake tits? How about pre-AIDS? Tommy Morrison, great fighter. He was scheduled, I think, for a championship bout. He took a fight, I think, from Ray Mercer when he wasn't supposed to fight Mercer. He was supposed to fight some tomato can, and I think he wanted to keep fighting. So he said, yeah, I'll fight Ray Mercer. And then Ray Mercer knocked him out, like vicious knockout, merciless Ray Mercer. And Morrison was never the same since. Just sad story all the way around. I remember he got like bicep implants too. I mean, he looked like this guy. I used to work at a gym in Santa Monica where this guy, he didn't even really work out that much, but he just got implants, calf implants, chest implants, shoulder implants, bicep implants. And these were like early 90s, late 80s implant style. So now I'm sure they look fairly natural, but back then it was like, what is this guy doing? Um, what would your fighter name be, Earl? Um, let me see. The Assassin, Earl the Assassin, uh, Earl the Flying Squirrel. That's a good one. And yeah, and then you get that era. I mean, Razor Ruddock was one of my favorite fighters. Problem with Razor Ruddock was he was a really sound technical fighter, and then he had like one knockout in like an obscure low, early in the fight card um, knockout, and you could tell he thought, well, I'm not gonna box technically. I'm just gonna knock guys out, and I mean, look at some of the shots he landed on Tyson. Tyson doesn't get credit for that chin, but in the prime Tyson, he was, that's why I give Buster Douglas credit. Buster Douglas was a great fighter, way more than just the Mike Tyson fight. How do I feel about AEW? I mean, I like to see the heel turn. I don't think it's anywhere near, um, what the Hulk Hogan NWO turn, but in terms of AEW, I mean, they need better writing. I told MVP that when he was at the Comedy Store the other week. You need, I mean, Tony Khan, I don't think Tony Khan believes in storytelling. He believes in super fights or super matches, like Omega against Takeshita. It's going to be a great match. I mean, both guys are great wrestlers. They have some history. I mean, Takesha's beaten him twice. So, I did sleep. Thank you. I'm sure you don't look that good right now either, baby doll. Uh, I don't know Robin Steamer. Yeah, I mean, Holyfield was a dirty fighter. Like, he just, he has this great rep of being Mr. Nice Guy. And, Holyfield was, I mean, I think Tyson was never the same after the Buster Douglas fight because Buster Douglas bullied him. Buster Douglas was like the first person to really be like, "Hey, man, I ain't afraid of you, bro. Fuck you. You're gonna hit me. I'm gonna hit you back." And Razor Ruddock fights, I think, had some damaging effect on Tyson because Razor Ruddock was the first one. I mean, Buster Douglas didn't back down. But I think Razor Ruddock was really the first one to stay right in front of Tyson and go, "You're going to hit me hard? Well, I'm going to hit you fucking hard too, bro." Um, uh-oh. If meth gives you a jawline like that, I'm cooking. And I mean, I do have a great jawline. I mean, I might not be the best looking guy in the world, but that jawline, look at that shit. So here's a side. Earl, did you hear Vince is about to be back? I don't know about that. I don't know if I believe that. Yeah, I bet Tyson had crabs. But I mean, Buster Douglas was not supposed to fight Tyson. I think Tyson was supposed to fight someone else, and they backed out. And I'm sure Tyson's manager was like, "Hey, man, I can get you 30 million to fight in the Tokyo Dome. You'll fight this guy Buster Douglas. He's nothing. You'll kill him." And it didn't quite work out like that. So. I've never really watched Family Guy, and I don't like to do impressions for free, but I will do this for you. EA Sports. It's in the game. I mean, Tyson in his prime was like killing guys. You know, Michael Spinks looked like he was about to shit his pants. And I don't blame him. Can you imagine fighting a prime Mike Tyson? I mean, who Frank Bruno was a great British heavyweight, but you know, not so much against Tyson. But I really think Tyson's downfall mentally was from the Buster Douglas to the Razor Ruddock fights. You know, those two guys were really the first two to be like, "We're not afraid of you." You know, and maybe they were afraid of him, but they didn't back down. Um, so And then, you know, once I think he lost to Douglas, the era of invisibility um, just wore off. Like, you know, it's like cracking you know, what is it, the 4 minute mile or the world record. You know, no one beat that record. And then I think what was it? Was it Roger Bannister did it, and then everyone started doing it. Um, you can do anything you want, transport. Did you contacted by Bobby Lee? I don't know what that means. Have I spoken to Bobby Lee lately? I've not. I see him at the Comedy Store every now and then, but um, that's all I see of him. Um, so, well, you could. I don't even think he had a cut man in the Douglas fight. If I'm, well, I don't watch that show, so I don't know the character. To be honest with you, um, hours not funny. I don't know what that means. Robin Givens didn't help either. Yeah, I mean, she was a cunt, but you know, he shouldn't have hit her. I mean, I honestly don't watch boxing anymore. I didn't like Predator 2. I think um, the problem with Predator 2, it didn't have the cast of Predator. I mean, Predator was so perfectly cast. Even Shane Black, who wrote the movie as the nerdy, you know, tech guy, he fit that part. Um, I mean, I would like to know who else was up for like the Bill Duke part, the Carl Weathers part. I'm sure Jesse Ventura was not the first wrestler considered, but it's just the second movie. I like in theory, hey, let's take the predator out of the jungle and into the city. And I'll never forget the billboards were so well done. It was like Predator 2, and it was a picture of the predator's face, I guess, head, face, and goes, in town with a few days to kill. I'm hardly sticking it to KB. This is the first time I've really gone up against KB, and I've got 14 people in there. Um, I didn't see the last Predator movie. Um, but you know, just the only other Predator movie I've liked was the Alien versus Predator with Lance Henriksen. I love the ending of that movie when um, the Predator's dead on the slab and it shows the spaceship leaving, and then all of a sudden the alien pops out of the Predator's stomach. So Oh, I mean, I love Kevin, but you know, like I'm busy tonight, so I can't stream. So like I said, I really don't think that having 15 people in the stream is going to affect Kevin. And I don't talk about the Dabbleverse, so I'm really not competing with Kevin or anyone else streaming right now. Um, so I mean, yeah, we don't talk about Ray DeVito in here. Waiver. Um, Earl, what parts are you more comfortable? I mean, I love playing bad guys for animation projects because my voice is so deep that it's very easy to play a villain. Don't be too proud of this technological terror. The power of this battle station is insignificant to the power of the Force. I would love to be the new Darth Vader. Jeff Ross sucks 100%. If I could super chat you right now, I would. Um, I love KB. I mean, KB's the funniest one in that world. Um, I mean, he just genuinely makes me laugh so easily. We'll do 15 more minutes, guys. 15 more minutes. So get those last minute questions in. And but I respect it. I mean, I was watching Shuli's show the other day. He was talking about Stuttering John. It had 1,500 people in his stream. I mean, that's fucking nuts to me. I mean, I just find Stuttering John so uninteresting. I don't find Perry interesting, but I've known Perry for 25 years. He wasn't funny back then. He's not funny now. Um, I don't think I saw. Is that when the alien or the predators were in a small town? And I think the Hawaiian girl from 24 was on it. Um, oh, I mean, see, I don't know if Julie buys views or not. Do you find Bobcat funny? I mean, not really. I mean, I met Shuli on the roast of Ric Flair, but I mean, still, you got to figure it. He's not buying all 1,500 views. I mean, even if you cut it in half, that's 700, 800. I mean, I would love to have 700 or 800 people in here. Um, I mean, I did, I think 3 shows with Shuli, Bob, and Mike. I think it was called the Miserable Men Show, and it was just watching. Yes, 100%, Jason. Lemmy's apartment was disgusting. I talk to Jordan all the time, a couple times a week. I never met Mitch Hedberg, one of my great comedy regrets, to be honest with you. So, one of my favorites. So, yeah, Lemmy's, but it was almost strangely organized as well. What are you thinking about? That's a little personal, Mr. Haig. Um, I mean, he was old school. I mean, but I remember when Lemmy died, and my girlfriend, who was managing him at the time, said, "Hey, you can go over to his house and pick any of his T-shirts that you want." He had all his concert T-shirts, like his stage T-shirts, like very neatly folded. So probably 100 of them, maybe more. And I picked the 5 least smelling ones. I mean, yes, I was Lemmy's personal valet at times to take him to my dentist and take him to the airport a few times. He lived, yes, it does. That is a great statue at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. Well, Erfan, we're talking about everything and anything that Stream wants to talk about. We're talking about wrestling. We're talking about Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead. We're talking hockey. Um, Probably the coolest thing, one of the coolest things in my life was I was the usher at Lemmy's funeral. And I don't know what came out about that, Nick. Inform me. And a very select group got to put Lemmy's ashes in its final resting spot. It was me, Motorhead's management team, a couple other people. And so as we're up there, we're all saying goodbye to Lemmy. This guy's crying uncontrollably and puts his hand on my shoulder. And I turn around, it was Dave Grohl. Yes, why aren't there not even 50 likes? Um, so I have yet to hit the YouTube algorithm. I'm trying. I'm trying. Uh, I don't know. I mean, if they were smart, Chris, they traded I see they just traded Kyle Frederick, or Trent Frederick, I'm sorry. Um, yes, he was fascinated with Nazi memorabilia. They just traded Frederick to the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, I mean, Dave Grohl was a huge, huge Lemmy fan. And I did such a good job at Lemmy's funeral. Wendy Dio was in charge of Lemmy's funeral. That the cool thing about where Lemmy is buried is it's facing directly across from Dio's gravesite, which is awesome. It's got like the devil horns on it, and they face each other. Is when Jimmy Bain, the bass player of Dio, died. I had to be the usher for that as well. And I remember Suave Al. I remember Jimmy Bain was buried in like a really nice custom jacket. So I was lifting up his head in the coffin to find out who made it. Um, Lemmy's girlfriend at the time was a black stripper named Cheryl. Um, But Limmy's neighbor was this blonde stripper, giant jugs. So there you go. I mean, I like that one Foo Fighters concert at the Forum where they bring out Paul Stanley and David Lee Roth. No tortilla. Ooh, Allah is blushing. Um, sorry, we're just, me and Bamba are just doing random lines from the Star Wars of Mexican prison movies, Blood In, Blood Out. You bet cash, you lose cash, you pay cash, Pitmobile. Why don't you take it out on Tinkerbell? You always liked Tinkerbell. I mean, I saw Motorhead probably 100 times. I basically had to. Tawny Katane, my good friend Tawny Katane. I miss her very much. I don't want his chop. So you're the fool that dusted spider. Well, it's me you want to see. It's funny. I was watching an old Supertramp video. It's raining again, and the guy with the mustache, who's like, "So you're the fool that dusted spider, huh? Well, it's me that you want." That guy was an extra in that video. Waiver $2. I am entertained. That's the whole fucking plan. Waiver. 8 more minutes, guys. 8 more minutes. Who's your favorite guitarist? I gotta say, it's a tough one. You know, it's always tough to narrow down just one guitar player. But I will go with the great Jake E. Lee, early Rat guitar player, rough cut, Ozzy Osbourne, Badlands, and now kind of just hanging out. Yeah, I'm the real fucking Hollywood insider. And then, there's who would be like my second favorite guitar player. I like Dave Kooning from the Killers. Vinnie Vincent. Steve Stevens, the great Steve Stevens. Warren DeMartini. Message held for review. Uh-oh, here we go. Boo, that is so unfunny. I can't show it. I'm sorry, man. You got to be funny to get your trolls in. Come on, man. I tolerate a lot with you guys. Yeah, I mean, there's 100 guitar players you could name. I mean, Mark Knopfler's great. You know, who's the guy from Hee Haw? I'm not really a country guy. Chet Akins, is that right? The guy from Hee Haw? Oh, thank you, Sucks. Hope everything's all right. I know, but you got to be funny, man. I can't put like shit like that on my stream. Um, the best celebrity I've ever met, Jim Carrey. He came up to me after roast battle, and without ever talking to me, he got what I was doing instantly. It was like, "Hey Archie, where's Edith?" Worst celebrity, hands down, Jeff Ross. Just not a single redeeming quality. Well, that's cool. But who was the guy from Hee Haw? Cloyd Akins? Like I see his face. Yeah, Jerry Reed, great guitar player. No, the guy, Roy Clark. Yeah, I don't know why. I was thinking of another name. I could show that one. That's not that funny, but it's factual. Um, yeah, I mean Jeff Beck. My friend Tall Wilkenfeld plays with Jeff Beck, or played with Jeff Beck, I should say. No, not Clay Akins. Um, you are the roast battle master, after all. I am, to be honest with you. I took on everyone. You know, but I'm retired from roast battle. I will never roast battle again because if I did, it would only help Jeff Ross. And I will never ever help Jeff Ross do anything. I've met tons of rock stars at the club. Glenn Campbell, yeah. I mean, even though I'm a metal, obviously Van Halen, Steve Vai, I mean, Joe Satriani, and even the guitar player from Missing Persons, what's his name? Warren Kakulu, or I'm mispronouncing the name, but, he doesn't really get enough credit. Um, um, the Sandler movies are all right. They're kind of one note. Yeah, I mean Clapton. Obviously you have to include him. Ric Flair. I've never met Bret Michaels. I've met CC DeVille though. He's cool. Ric Flair. I mean, it depends on what you would you get paid to do. Fuck no. The whole time, the first 5 years of roast battle, I got paid one. I never got paid $1 in the LA show. Not $1, and I was the star of the fucking show in that room. Not $1. That's comedy in a nutshell. Now I made some decent money when I went 4-1 on television, but it wasn't fun because all the battles were really made. Well, Earl will make it fun, and this person will kill Earl because they're better writers, and they might have been better writers than me, but I knew the format better than anybody. Short, hard-hitting jokes and truthful jokes because the truth hurts. Like I would hit people's comedy, like your comedy sucks. And I knew that would throw whoever I was battling off. Because no one, like, you could tell, like when you guys troll me in here, oh, I would love to be on the AEW color guy. But, Nigel McGuinness is pretty funny, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, I mean, Dwayne Allman's a great. So, when you talk about, Ric Flair, it's like he's definitely one of the most known of all time, especially for someone who wasn't in WWF all that long. I mean, he was in NWA, AWA, in WCW. I mean, he was, kind of overshadowed by Hogan and just the largeness of WWF at the time. But if I don't think you can do a Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling because it's too. You have to categorize it. Who are the most known wrestlers of all time? I'd probably go Hogan, Flair, The Rock, Andre the Giant. Who are the best heels of all time? That's Rick Rude, and it's a whole nother category. Who are the best baby faces of all time? It's hard to just pick. You know, um, four. Um, yes, I did have the entrances too, but you see why. I saw Too Cold Scorpio wrestle a couple months ago in GCW. The guy fucking still moved for like 62. He fought Joey Janela. Um, so can you imagine being on a fucking airplane with him when he had to take a dump? You're gonna tell him no, and he didn't fit in the airplane bathroom. So what they would do on long overseas flights with Andre the Giant was they would have him shit in a bucket. And it's not like they can open up the airplane door and throw it out the window. I mean, that shit stayed on the plane. And he didn't wipe. Oh, that must have smelled so bad. Um, but yeah, I would never roast battle again. What do I get? What do I get out of it? I beat Jimmy Carr on international television. You think beating some local LA comic would mean anything to me? I beat Tom Ballard. It's a huge. Tom beat Jimmy in the first season of Roast Battle that wasn't televised. I beat him. I beat K. Trevor Wilson, the current Canadian champ. Why the fuck would I battle Pat Barker? Like, what? And I love Pat, but it would literally mean nothing to me. Yeah, I mean, Harley Race, Bruno Sammartino, like he was a little before my time, but like you've got to consider him. I mean, superstar Billy Graham is. You know how many people ripped off superstar Billy Graham? Hogan, Jesse Ventura. You know. Um, yeah, I mean Bob Backlund. Just unfortunately for him, he just you know he just wasn't interesting. Wasn't a great interview. I mean, Hogan really hit at the right time. He had the look. Even though he was like bald and he still had the look. Ultimate Warrior had the look. Um, they say Kane was legit the strongest wrestler of his time. So, um, yeah, I mean, you gotta, that's another one like Kerry Von Erich. Do you include him in the discussion? Um, from the standpoint of, if you don't count WWF wrestlers, someone like Sting. Sting's probably a top 10 all-time wrestler, but I think a lot of guys who were never in WWF or were in it very briefly, Sid, where do you put Sid? Am I saying Sid should be at the Mount Rushmore? Not necessarily, but like he's definitely, I think, someone who, one of the few who was WWF and WCW champion. Yeah, I mean Undertaker. Yeah, I mean absolutely, he's in the discussion. John Cena is in the discussion. Kerry Von Erich in the discussion. I mean, if you count, other organizations, Nikita Koloff, one of the top heel, probably the greatest face. Everyone talks about the Cena heel turn, but to me, the greatest face turn of all time, without a doubt, is when Nikita Koloff joined Dusty Rhodes for the Superpowers. Um, we don't talk about Jeff Ross in here. Um, well, I think in terms of the baddest wrestlers on the planet, when you look at, Haku is often mentioned for being a badass. Steve Blackman was a legit judoka. Bad News Allen was a medalist in the '76 Olympics, and rumored that Andre the Giant was afraid of him. Like, I think one time Andre the Giant said the N word, and they were on a bus in Mexico, and Bad News Allen stopped the bus and said, "Hey, motherfucker, let's go outside right now." And Andre the Giant kind of apologized to him. Yeah, Ming, Haku, the stories about him being. I mean, you can't hurt Samoans, man. Their bodies are too thick. You imagine Ming with a few beers in him, like, oh my god, like good luck with that. What up, John? We're just about to end the stream, but thank you guys for joining us. And go back to Oz Baker. I mean, Andre was probably at least 500 to 600 pounds. I mean, especially toward the end of his life. When his body started breaking down and he couldn't move, he just piled on the weight. Yeah, I mean, Macho Man's another one. Mr. Perfect's another one. If you start going into tag teams, the Road Warriors, the Steiners. I mean, it's tough, to. Um, I don't know if he had a 15-inch hog, but when you're 7'5", 600 pounds, you probably do have a nice sized hog. Um, all right, you guys. Jason, good talking wrestling with you. Um, and yeah, I've seen her on YouTube before. Hit the like and subscribe button on the way out. This has been a rare Earl Skakel mid-afternoon stream. Well, I mean, his legs gave out, his back gave out. He could barely fucking walk. And as soon as Hulk Hogan was ready to carry the torch, WWF fucking tossed him aside. Hey, thanks for carrying us for the last 10 years. We got this new blonde guy from Venice. Well, he's really from Tampa, but we're gonna say he's from Venice Beach. I don't know if I'll be on at 8 p.m. I might go on live tonight. I'm not sure. All good. No homo. No homo at all. Earl Skakel, over and out.